if you ever travel to any part of Asia, people walk around with cell phones. That is to say that the exchange goes both directions. But when you look at the difference between, say, Turkey and Italy, or Persia and Spain, that division is even thinner. So first of all, this idea that there's an East is absurd, because you're gonna lump Vietnam with India, with Japan, with China. These are shockingly different cultures from each other. Now, obviously, Japan and China have had a lot of cultural exchange back and forth, but Japan and India have not. In other words, this idea that there's this Asia with this monolithic culture doesn't make any sense, not to mention that there's no similarity between Japan and Syria. Although Persians love Japanese movies, Akira Kurosawa movies, like I think The Seventh Samurai might be one of Persia's favorite ever movies, but that's clearly not the same thing as they should be lumped in the same category. By the way, just for the record, Akira Kurosawa is one of the greatest all-time filmmakers, period. And if you don't know who he is, you really need to look him up. I think he was involved in the making of like 130 films, including Star Wars, it turns out. He said no to Star Wars. Oh, really? So Steven Spielberg, not Spielberg, George Lucas stole the idea of Star Wars from Akira Kurosawa. What was it Hidden Fortress? Does anybody remember? Anyway, totally look it up, and then go watch the Akira Kurosawa movie. There's even a C-3PO and an R2-D2 in it. There's this short guy and this tall guy, and the dialogue is almost identical. It's really weird. My point is that by doing this, by insisting that there's this division, we make the division. The division becomes true. This notion that there's a Western civilization is absurd, right? Pulp paper comes from China. The stirrup comes from India. Steel comes from India. The Arabs invented algebra. Do you see what I mean? Like this notion that somehow our civilizations are separated and they don't interact with each other doesn't make any geographical or historical sense. Now, it is true some civilizations are closer to each other than others. Like Greece and Turkey are obviously very close to each other because the Turks owned the Greeks for so long. But even when you go further out, it becomes a little bit on the absurd side. And so I guess at the end of the day, what I would say to you is there is no such thing specifically as Western civilization, but I think you could make an argument that there was such a thing as Mediterranean civilization. I think you could make an argument that there was such a thing as Indian civilization or Chinese civilization. Does that make sense? So that it's not an East-West thing. It's that throughout Africa and Asia and Europe, there are these clusters of civilizations that are similar to each other that have interacted with each other more than, say, their next-door neighbors. Like, obviously, India and China and India and Persia have interacted with each other, but it's not like they're one cultural region. There's clearly a distinction there. Anyway, I hope at least gave you some food for thought. I'll field some questions and let's call it a day. I'm not feeling good. I'm pretty sure I've got bubonic plague. Is that no joke? What's happening in Madagascar? Crap. That's a really hard question. I mean, I think Rashomon is just so brilliantly made. It's hard to not pick it as one of my favorites. It's either that or Seven Samurai. I also like Kagashima, but I don't think it's as good a movie by any means. And then Ran. Ran is cinematographically one of the best movies ever made. It's just gorgeous.